Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about using other terms. And what I mean by that is using other terms to get what you really want. This is more specific around a contract, an actual written agreement. Before you come up with any contract, seller side or buyer side, you really need to know what are the important items to you in this negotiation and this agreement, and what are some of the terms in this agreement that may not be as important or are secondary. By knowing this going into a negotiation or presenting an offer, you'll have a good idea of what to focus on and how to formulate an offer that's going to get accepted. So for instance, one of the more important items in a contract typically is price. That's an item that's conversed about a lot and negotiated over in a large degree. But there's other terms as well. There's earnest money. There's closing date. There's the title company that the contract's going to be held at. There's numerous items on your contract that are very important items for the buyer side. What time frame they need to close by, the amount of money they put up front to hold this contract, what the actual price point is for them, whether or not you will allow them to close cash or they can close with lending, like hard money lending in the agreement. If you identify prior what are the important aspects of the contract, the important terms that you want to make sure you get, then be mindful of all the other terms that are not as important. And those other terms that are not as important, you can give those all to the other party in their favor. So for instance, on the seller side, maybe you're very specific about the price point. You know you can only do this deal at $55,000. But the sellers already expressed to you they want to use their title company, that they want double the earnest money that you would typically put down. They want a quicker closing date, and they've stipulated a number of other terms that are important to them. Well, then you can tell them, hey, I will give you the title company. I'll give you the earnest money you're looking for. I will give you the closing date. But for me to do that, I need this particular price point. So utilize the other terms in the agreement, give those to the other party so that you can get the one term or the two terms in the contract that are important to you so that you can ensure success. So be mindful of that. Another aspect that you can do when drafting a contract or an agreement is put in some decoy terms. So make something a little bit more outlandish. So for instance, on the buyer side, maybe you normally accept $2,000 up front from your buyers to lock up a deal. But what you can do is now increase that amount to $8,000 or $7,500 or even $10,000. Make it something outlandish, because what will happen is the buyer will come to you and try and negotiate on that item, and they'll be very concerned about the negotiation on that item. And to you, the main item you're trying to negotiate is the price point. So if you negotiate with them on the upfront money and then you land on a price point, the upfront money that they're happy with, well, then in their mind, psychologically, they've won. So you've given them a win, and now you can put some pressure on the price point and get a win on that side. So a lot of this is psychological. You can write a contract that is very pro you with all the terms in your favor, and then present it to them. And then when they negotiate, just give them all these other terms so that psychologically it feels like they've won on 6 items, but you've won on the most important item. But the only way for you to be successful there is to know which terms of the agreement are most important to you prior to submitting the offer or starting the full negotiation conversation. So again, using other terms to get what you really want.